Did you unmute yourself?
Unmute!
Okay.
Not again. Not again.
Listen,
not this
that
time.
is why I asked you guys to remind me.
You asked me to remind you and I forgot, but you know, everyone else remembered on my behalf, so thank you everyone else.
I mean, to be fair, you did remind him already, right?
I did, so actually I'm okay. I feel the weight on my soul lifted by technicality.
Okay, so hello everyone. We should be live. We should be all good. We should be sounding. I don't know what just happened to. There we go. Yeah, I can hear myself
It's
now.
Sunday night.
I didn't realize this pair of headphones attaches at the base. I need to remember that. Okay, so welcome. I am noticing a teeny tiny amount of persisting resizing issues. Hopefully, it doesn't plague us too much. But if everyone is good, shall we begin?
Yeah, let's
Very
do it.
well. Hello and welcome to DC30 and our Mythic Odyssey of Theros. D&D with an ancient Greek twist. I am your dungeon master, Romeo, and we are joined by a full house tonight. The second time in a long time. We have, as ever, Ali as the barbarian Bacchios, Virla as Hilira, the human cleric, Amalia, the Leonan fighter, being played by Violet, Rebecca as Bithynia, the human warlock, Skotinos as the satanic blood magic sorcerer, and joining us for the second time of what will hopefully be many times, Tamara as Xanthia, the Triton paladin of redemption.
Please don't leave us, Xanthia. We need your paladin. We would have been screwed last week.
I won't, don't
No
worry.
life protected.
That resistance to cold weather.
You're stuck with me now.
Yeah.
Good.
So, last we left off, you finally reached the warriors of the Dustcrawler clan, having chased them into this icy strait known as the Frost Gauntlet, hoping to also find Amalia's treacherous father in the process. You found their dead bodies at the feet of a monster made out of ice, with the form of a maiden, but grotesque and prismatic. This creature introduced itself as Ithra, and offered to gift you a life of servitude. You showed staunch defiance to this idea, and Ithra, the lesser idol and progeny of Kriotelos, Titan of Winter's Bite, grew angry and attempted to kill you all, as she had the warriors of the Dustcrawler pride. With the timely arrival of an old friend, you were able to slay her together. You celebrated this triumph, but also mourned the senseless loss of life. And as you began to gather the dead, you realized Varagon Dustcrawler, father to Amalia, who led these Leonan into the Frost Gauntlet, is not among them. So, Tempest, what would you like to do?
Quick question before we get started. Did we end the session last time with a long rest?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can say you guys, if you guys are electing to immediately take a long rest, you can absolutely do so.
Yeah. I think that was our call.
Thank goodness for that. I'm out of rage slots and I have very little
You've still got a
HP.
point of exhaustion after it all, I think, haven't you?
Oh, is that due to the side effect of haste?
Yeah.
Well, ruling on this DM, how are you deducting exhaustion points in this campaign?
I was under the impression it was one at a time.
No, and then how do you get rid of them? Sorry. How are you defining how you rest in?
So a minimum of 6 of the 8 hours must be spent in unconscious state. The other 2 can be spent using light activities such as reading or that sort of thing. So rules as written.
Well, assume then that I spent the full 8 hours just completely conked out, mouth wide open. Yeah, I was snoring like an absolute beast. Alrighty.
Do we actually, one thing Scotus might suggest to everyone is that we move, because how far did we travel further in before we came across her? Would we be able to travel back to the previous camp where it was a little bit cooler, not cooler, a little bit less cold.
You can try if you like.
I'm not sure. Otherwise, actually, oh no, we've got we can have a tiny hut. Either way, can't we?
Do we have a tiny hut?
We can have a tiny hut.
We
We can
don't
have two tiny
we don't
huts.
need to
Do you
wait.
have
Then
any
that's fine.
spell slots for it?
doesn't
That's
need
the
any.
question. Ah, nice. Oh wow, you can use that without
Ritual
needing a
caster.
spell slot.
That's
Oh,
Nice.
nice. Forgot about ritual casting. Yeah, that's awesome.
I did too, which is when I temporarily took over Bithynia and used all the spell slots. I did think, oh shit, and then realised it was a ritual.
Oh yeah,
It's okay.
there has to be like an achievement unlocked for doing a like major boss fight without any spell slots and still kicking ass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why I wasn't completely upset last week. I'm like, we'll be fine. I'm like, spell slots, we've got Eldritch Blast for that.
Eldritch Blast.
Pew 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 pew.
Okay, so Bithynia, you sit down and recite the familiar incantations, and soon enough you have manifested the dome, as you have before so many times.
Up go the walls.
I
It won't be a
immediately lie
sorority
down,
this time,
spoon my axe, and just pass out. Very reminiscent to how you, Hilaria, first met Bokios all those weeks ago, spooning his axe in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Christina steps over him in the front of the door.
I'll say, just so that everyone has a approximate time frame, the events of the Temple of Krufix would have occurred, I'll say, about 4 months before present day.
Makes sense, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, as you guys are sitting down to take your long rest, Hilira, you and Bakios take in and sort of comprehend the fact that you are seeing someone again that you didn't originally anticipate.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't get
You
that.
finally comprehend that Xanthia, who you didn't necessarily anticipate seeing again, is here.
Oh, okay. Well, did you guys see Minos at all, Mr. Minotaur, as I call him? Is he? What have you been up to? Have you seen him at all? What's been going on?
I haven't seen him since the battle, to be honest. I don't know anything more than you do.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him either. I feel like he's a very mysterious person.
Yes.
So Xanthia, what have you been up to? You've been, you came out of nowhere, you kicked ass, you saved lives.
Thank you.
What have you been doing?
Yes. So, actually, I need to pull up my backstory again. I don't want to tell you guys anything wrong. So, give me a second. I swear I'm well prepared all the time.
The cold does terrible things to memory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Can't remember the last time I could feel my toes.
yes. After the battle at the Temple of Krufix, I stayed there for a while longer and helped restore the temple for a while. I tried to get more answers from the statue, but to no avail. So I made my way to
Make him away.
Apikia.
Sorry, ignore me.
Apikia, and I helped out there, met an oracle, and what she told me is that I do still have to fulfill many trials, but I do not have to do so alone. I tried to find you, and here I am.
Hey, you found us. Well done.
How did you find us, though? Did you just follow, like, the dumbassery? Or, like, how did you do it?
I mean, I haven't showered in a while. Did that help?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, certainly.
I was joking.
I was wondering why you smelled like rotten fish. I thought it was from the freezing water. Oh, you should really take a shower. Okay.
Balkios, you have a minus D4 to your next wisdom saving throw for the self-esteem hit you just took.
Oh my god. Like a reverse inspiration.
Yeah. That was a pretty good burn.
Just stay close to me and I get you.
Well, that's
a
minus
+4.
3 to my next. That's minus 3. Thanks.
I'm kidding. I'm not that cruel.
I'm so upset.
I'm not that cruel.
There.
It's alright. It's alright.
So what have you guys been up to?
Well, you know me. I don't like hanging around with many people. Bit of a loner, you know. One man army. I killed a chimera, single-handed. It was awesome. You should have seen me. I snuck up on it. I ripped out its heart. I ate the heart. I laughed. I skinned it, and now I'm wearing him. I can do amazing things when I get angry.
That's true, yes. I also managed to slay a giant sea monster. And you see this new armor?
Damn, you look fit. Sorry, fine, good, awesome, yeah.
Yeah. I think Hilliera has had a good influence on you since the last I saw you.
I mean, yeah. She's lovely, isn't she? She's our little cleric, and you're our little paladin.
And you're a big boy.
That's me. That's me.
I just kind of like look over to Amalia and go, "Are they hearing themselves?"
I think they have their own little clique of stuff. I don't know what's going on. But he's definitely not our big boy, I can tell you that.
No.
Are the
I go
others
to-
not
I-
nice to you?
I go to drink out of my M4, realise it's empty, and struggle to hold back tears in front of the group.
Here you go. Take some of mine.
No, you don't want to give me that. You will not get any of it back.
It's fine. I have more.
What? And it's running down into his beard, you know, it's sort of getting like, none of it reaches the bottom and drips off because it sort of get like stuck in the dreads and other little bits of plant and ice and bugs that have like just become trapped in his beard.
Nice beard wax.
Oh, no. Well, no, my mustachios are still like really well done because I stick my fingers in my ears every day and just go, So I've got a really good bushy beard and really waxed mustachios.
This got out of hand real quick.
Oh God.
Listen, I've been on my own for 10 years. I have no sense of social decorum.
So yeah, how did you meet those other guys then?
Well, I was at the entrance to this this chasm of ice that we've been traveling down now for several days, and I saw this big group of people. Oh no! These guys, they look like trouble. And who did I find? But it was Hilliera, and I knew that they were good people. Apart from this Leonan lady over here, she's mean.
I'd
But
say honest. Thank you.
I mean, you outkill me at every turn, and you've got a bigger axe than me. Yeah, it's
That's not my
true.
fault.
Hey, it is your fault. You're a better fighter than me.
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
Rorak flicks you very lightly on the shoulder, and Amalian says, "Just take the compliment."
Well, it's not exactly a compliment, is it? It's the truth. I am a better fighter than him.
Alright.
Oh my god.
That's it. Kids, go to bed.
I didn't realize I missed the roll for initiative here.
I mean, I don't think I'm not paying attention to it.
By the way, while this conversation is going on, is it okay if I close my eyes and send my echo the other way to see if anyone's down there?
Go ahead and so you just summon that fragment of your soul once more to walk the earth as a astral clone of yourself, and just sit there in a similar way to the way you guys have sometimes seen Bithynia sort of hunker down when she's in drone mode with her familiar. Amalia does something of a similar ilk, and as you sort of nestle down and enter the mind of your echo, the echo starts walking further down the tunnel. Are you looking for anything in particular, Amalia? Okay,
My dad.
Make a investigation check. Okay. You travel for the full 1,000 feet that you can extend the range of your echo. And the echo having sort of slightly more ethereal properties to it is less encumbered or less hampered by the difficult terrain. It is able to slip through relatively without tripping off any hazards. You unfortunately just find 1,000 feet of empty, frosty tunnel. You do spot some movement, though. As you crest one loop, you see a sort of mound at the other end of the tunnel, and it seems, as you squint slowly with your dark vision, you watch as it seems to be rising up and down ever so slightly and slowly.
Can I tell what it
Make
is
a
or
perception
not?
check.
Perception.
Sandwiches?
9.
9. With a 9, it looks to be some sort of animal. It definitely doesn't look humanoid. But you can spot sort of like white fluff. It seems to be sort of like large white animal.
Okay, you see how I'm kind of in
Yep.
drone mode? Can I not walk like to the entrance of where we are and see if my echo can walk a little bit more forward?
Yeah. Let me just double check if... I don't believe it paralyzes you, but I just want to double check what echo mode for the Echo Knight specifically entails. Echo Avatar, during this time you're deafened and blinded, but you are not bound to movement. So you basically call out for your companions to aid you, and almost like a service animal.
Yeah. I'll offer an arm, and I'll as you kind of direct, like, no, that's too far. I kind of gauge which direction you're trying to go towards, because I guess even direction is hard, and then I'll assist.
You feel eventually you are able to do so, and you feel your echo's range extends slightly and slightly more as you sort of wind down the tunnel. Occasionally, you feel a sharp pain as you bump into something that you are not able to see. Like, you just hit like a stumpy rock and you like squirr at the knee. But you are able to narrow the gap, and as you do so, you watch as this breathing creature rolls over, and it is a white bear.
Does the white bear have like any blood on
Not
it
that you
or
can see.
anything?
And it just spots you. Gets up on its hind legs.
Okay, Echo disappears.
And you're back in your body.
Did you find him then?
No, but there is a white bear about 1,000 feet that way.
I mean, we could go, but I think we're a little listening for the snoring from party force at the moment.
We'll be fine. I'll have like the first watch, and if it comes, I can just flash it.
It seemed to be quite far. Well, how far away is it? Is it like
1,000 feet.
Well, if it comes knocking on the door, we can deal with it then.
Okay. So sleep.
And then we're moving on or moving back?
I don't know
Well,
yet.
I will butt into this conversation. I had a few ideas because we were talking last session about like maybe trying to find your dad. And then I had a few ideas because I have locate creature, which I could use, or I can scry again on him, but then I would need like a little piece of like something he owned to make it go better because, and we could also do something, but that's a little bit of a wild card, and you know, but one of us, me, Amalia, or Rorak, could send him a message. Because I have a spell called Sending, and I can send a message of 25 words, and we could antagonize him and be like, bitch, we're coming for you. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm here, come get me. And then we know where he is.
Did I mention how many times I love you?
You think it's a good idea?
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
You watch as Rorak sort of thinks for a moment. And then he sort of reaches to a bone totem around his neck. And that seems to be comprised out of raven claws. Unfastens and it says, "How long ago would he have to have owned it?"
I don't think it specifies. It just gives me like an extra booster because I don't know him. So let me see. It just says possession or garment. You know, I tried to do it with another.
Rorak? Is that my father's?
He gave it to me, said it was a symbol of respect. That I had earned my place in the pride. Either way, you can have it if it's useful, or burn it if it's not. And he tosses it to you, Lyra.
Okay, great. So do we want to do it now or in the morning?
Far be it from me to say no to impulsive decisions, because I do like them.
Yeah,
would
and I
also
don't have a
suggest
lot of
waiting.
spells.
Yeah.
I would say we fall asleep first. Sleep is important. We need our energy for tomorrow. And then first thing tomorrow when we wake up, we'll do it.
Gives you time to think of exactly what to say as well.
I'm gonna say, where the fuck are you, motherfucker?
Yeah, because
What
do
was
we
this
want to
about?
have you send the message or Rorak? Because if it's you, I feel like we you know, kind of have the cat out of the bag. And if Rorak does it, it's just like an old enemy coming back. And then you are there, and it's like, surprise, motherfucker.
Would you be comfortable to do it?
I can if you would like me to.
She hugs him and says thank you.
Oh.
I'm sorry about your sister. I loved her dearly.
We're still going to save her, right?
Oh.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna save her.
Then why did...
As I said, been a long day. I think we've all started.
I meant sorry as in this is all happening. This shouldn't have happened.
Very
My
well.
mother was alive, she wouldn't have let this happen.
I know. We should get some rest. I will take the first watch.
She nods and then sits down next to Sky.
And
I can share a watch with you. I'm not feeling too bad.
thank you.
I'll take second watch. You can wake me up after. And I'll cozy up between Buckius and Amalia. Somewhere in the middle.
So you've got a smelly barbarian on one hand, and a fish-riddled paladin on the other. That's a very pungent crevice there.
Look, two of my friends went unconscious. As the healer, I feel guilty. So, she wants to play
Listen, you weren't the one dealing 20 damage at the start of every fucking turn, alright? That's not on you.
But you guys are able to bed down for the evening. The watches go by uninterrupted. And you especially, Vakios, who's always listening, always sensing out for danger. You've been in unsafe environments for a very long time, and you just have an ear out for that stuff like breathing. You notice, because of that, that it's quiet. It is disturbingly peaceful. You get the sense that very, very little dares tread anywhere near this location.
Maybe a good place for a stronghold. No one's going to come fucking with us near here ever again.
Morning comes. Excuse me, I'm going to roll for weather.
Summer.
Please.
You awaken to extreme cold.
Damn.
Hey,
Cool.
Worth an attempt.
okay, one lower
Worst
and
summer
you would
ever.
have hit dire frost, which is one of the options on this table.
Oh, lovely.
So it was same as yesterday. Everybody with warm clothing is with cold weather gear is unaffected by this. Anybody resistant to cold damage is also unaffected by this.
Sweet.
Bakios, you're shit out of luck.
Do you need me to roll a
Not
con
just
save?
yet, but they will be coming.
Oh, lovely. Love that. Love to see it.
Fortunately, there is no wind. Unfortunately, you are greeted by heavy snowfall that just blankets the terrain in all directions. Everything going forward this day will be lightly obscured, which will mean disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight.
Just 'cause Plutinos probably was taking the last watch and has now been finishing up melting some of the snow into water for refilling the water skins, because he's not done that in a while, and I think what he's got is a bit rancid at this point, says the group. So we know what we're saying and who's going where and what the plan is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's very quiet round here. Normally I'm kept up all night by screaming winds or nomadic tribes or scuttling insects, but there is no life anywhere near here. So we've got one of two choices, right? We get the fuck out of here because it's dangerous as shit, or we stay here because no one in their right minds is going to come fuck with us.
But
Apart
we're
from
on
maybe a
a
white bed.
mission. Ooh,
I mean, yeah, I know we're on a mission, right? But you know, less haste. Is what my mum used to say to me when I was on her knee.
yeah, no, I kind of like haste. So, so do we want to try sending and scrying?
I attempted to, well, if we had his blood,
Mm-hmm.
there would be something I could do with it,
Oh.
but at this point, I can't see anything I could use.
Hmm.
But the sending the message, that seems, at the very least, if he responds, we know he's alive. He could choose to say something and then, because I've someone's cast this on me before, and you feel like it's like a door or something opens and you can kind of speak into it and it goes back. I don't know, it's weird. But he could choose not to say anything.
He could also, after that, like, do stuff against magic. Should I try scrying first, and then we send the message?
I meant
Just
more
to kind of see what he's doing.
that,
Question
or when we send the message, we don't have to tell him that we're coming to get him. We could say, we've come to help. Where are you?
I could pretend to be a scorned lover.
I mean,
don't
all
know.
that, I guess. That's also a
That
plan.
wouldn't work.
No.
That wouldn't work.
Valyria,
I would
you
like
came up with
to
that
do
plan
that,
way
but I would-
too quickly for my liking.
Well, it was the first thing I thought of, okay? I don't know. I thought I had a good plan. You guys said it was a good plan, and now it's not a good plan anymore. I also have a spell where I can see creatures within 1,000 feet, or I can at least, like, sense them, but then he'd have to be in, like, 1,000 feet, and I don't know if he is, so... I can try that as well.
Back to what we originally said. If you see the Raven's claw thing that Rorak gave you,
Uh-huh.
that used to be his.
Yeah.
So if you use that to see where he is,
Yeah.
he would know he's alive.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that first.
Okay. I will sit down and cast Scrying, which takes 10
Okie
minutes.
dokie. That is a wisdom saving throw for
Does it
me,
take 10
right?
minutes? Yeah.
Okay, give me just 1 second. And it's +5 to the DC if you have something that the creature owns, right?
Let me see. It is blah, 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 blah. It's a -4 for him because I have something that belongs to him. A possession or garment.
Right. I'm gonna say that becomes a -3 purely because he hasn't technically owned the item in some time. But it nonetheless
Okay.
will apply. Oh, sorry, -4, yes, -3, yeah.
Yeah.
And the DC is...
17. 17.
No. You guys watch as Hilira sort of stands still for a moment, closes her eyes, and almost similar, in a way that almost reminds you of Amalia's echo, but less ethereal and phantasmal, and more almost like a hard-like construct. That sort of glowing light-based duplicate of herself that she's produced once or twice, sort of is produced out of her. And then this duplicate looks around for a moment in mannerisms identical to Hilira before sort of blurs out of existence. Hilira, with movements that are not your own, you seem to almost step forward slightly. And then the land blurs away beneath your feet as you move in at a speed that transcends beyond time. Right before you do, you hear, "Please keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and at no point attempt to exit the vehicle, or there may be unforeseen consequences." And you... The land blurs away beneath your feet as you race across time and space. It all moves so quickly, you do not have time to perceive things that go around. You just see clouds and movement until you find yourself standing in the middle of a grassy savanna field. You look it down and you recognize the terrain as being very endemic of the Valley of Orescos, the Golden Plains. And then you notice just kneeling down before you a familiar, hulking, 8-foot-tall, muscle-bound Leonan in armor, or in hides that have been adorned with bones. Almost every bit looking like the the illusion that Rorak displayed for you. Save for a few differences. The piercing golden eyes that seem to scream arrogance are now a sickeningly icy blue and glowing ever so slightly.
Fuck.
You see slight icicles that have just ever so slightly forming, condensing on him, and then immediately shattering off. He seems to be holding a very long spear, whose head is a single large icicle shard. And as he sticks it in the ground and just examines his hand, he sort of flexes slightly and just ever so slightly, the winds, the sort of like, almost like the foggy breath just sort of condenses around his hand. And he smiles, a smile full of massive fangs. It's, you're forced to take a step back slightly, just out of instinct.
I'll flip him off as well.
Now, that isn't very nice. And you see, stepping into view, the Leonan does not move, but entering your view, you see a human woman with a gray hood drawn over her face. Her skin is disturbingly pallid, and her the pupils in her yellowing, sort of almost jaundiced eyes are the size of pinpricks. "Hello. What have we here?" And she reaches out sort of grab your face, and then you sort of are sent out.
Ah! Okay, not nice. No good vibes. He's alive.
Are you okay? What happened?
Well, your dad was alive. He has ice powers. I think he's Elsa. And then there was a woman in a hood, and I flipped your dad off because I thought it was fun. And then the lady said, "Haha, I can see you." And then she tried to touch me, and then I came back.
Hilira, it's all right. Just let it go.
Okay, where's Tiamat's stat block? 1 second.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Let's have a look.
Worth it.
There's always one.
Listen, I don't care how much that costs Spockius. I do not care. That was worth every second.
Archduke Zariel of Avernus. There we go.
So, your dad's alive. He has powers. There's a lady with him in a grey hood that could see me, which shouldn't be possible. And she tried to touch me. Is there something on my face?
Is there something on her
nothing
face?
on your face.
Oh,
Make a perception check.
and I do. Oh shit. I'm going as if to do the whole got your nose thing, but as I'm doing that, I'll do the perception.
Well, that's actually pretty good.
Scotty, what'd you
16.
Is this disadvantage because of the environment?
You're like,
because
she's like a foot from your face, not.
So it's fine. Okay, cool. 9.
You reach in and you do the got your nose, and you see a teeny tiny scratch, almost like from a fingernail, just right above her cheek. That you're pretty sure wasn't there but a second ago.
Okay.
Oh, that bitch did not touch you.
So, I grab. So how I'll do this is I kind of do the whole got your nose thing, grin, look at you for a minute, tilt my head to a side, and then I'm going to subtle cast Healing Word, and I just pretend to put your nose back and just dust your cheek.
That's so sweet.
Can I pick up her unicorn and just be like, here you go, hug this. This will make you feel better.
That was very scary. Did your dad always have blue eyes? I don't think they did they?
Blue eyes, no. Yeah, you see how my eyes are green and purple? My mum had purple eyes, my dad had green eyes.
Okay, they're blue now.
Oh shit, the Night King's here.
Okay, I know I don't know your dad, Amalia, and I know being a friend, I was always morally inclined to thinking of a bit of a dick.
He is a
yeah.
dick.
Yeah,
What
well, you know what happened before we kicked Queen Ice Bitch into the lake? She offered us a wonderful trade of subservience or death, and I wonder which one your dad took.
Well, clearly he didn't choose death, did he?
He bent the knee.
He bent
At the expense of the rest of, well...
I mean, the question is he still your dad?
Well, he never was my dad. He killed my mum when I was 16.
Oh shit, I did not know that. I do apologise. What a cunt.
Varagon is many things.
Something we can agree on.
Monster for sure, but coward is not one of them. He would have done this with a smile on his face.
Well, I'll tell you one thing he's going to be in the near future, and that's our bitch.
Sorry, I think I like him now.
It does mean that... Wait, hang on. So, how far away is he? Is he deeper into the mountains, or what's...
Well, he wasn't in the snow anymore. He was like in like this golden grassy field thing. It kind of looks like where Amalia's from, where we went, where we dropped Yeah, Nazrazov.
Alright. So, not here, we think.
So, technically speaking, if we were to go back, the way we came to go home, back to Melodies, we would technically have to pass
The
where
planes
he
are
is.
the planes are big. There's no guarantee we'll walk in a straight line. But, yes, we don't necessarily have to stay here or travel further through if he's not in this mountainous area anymore.
The question is, though, the baby Titan gave him powers. What powers would he possess now?
Probably ice-related, I would guess.
Something pretty cool.
Lavinia, that's not helpful. I love you, but that's not helpful.
Romeo, would I know from like traveling here a little bit and stuff? Could I roll to see if I would recognize the terrain we were on?
Make a, I'm gonna say, straight wisdom check.
If we don't know specifically where he is,
This is the furthest I've ever been out of.
I'm not saying we stop hunting for him, Amalia. I'm not saying that. But if we don't have a specific direction, we do still have the survivors to take care of. And I have something to take care of back there as well. We could do that and then perhaps find a better way to recoup where he's gone.
I may be able to investigate and track him using the ways of the wild. I would need time.
Smart idea. I also rolled.
Sorry, go ahead.
I rolled a 24.
Nice.
I rolled a natural 19.
It was definitely within the sort of rolling grasslands that you guys traveled. No, not specifically the ones you traveled through. You, the limitations of the scry spell sort of confines you to the area, but the biome, for lack of a better term, was definitely a one-for-one match. You could safely assume he is somewhere in the Valley of Orescos. And judging by the coloration with the 24, I'll say not really anywhere very close to a mountain where they pale slightly from the cold.
I think I have a plan.
Okay, what's the plan?
We go back, we rescue the survivors. Scotty does what Scotty needs to do. Me and Rorak, on the way back, will go to the king and tell him what happened and, well, you know, he won't listen to Rorak, but he will listen to me. Since I'm not part of the crown officially anymore. No offense.
Our honor is stained.
And I'll explain to him Baby Titan gave him powers and he's probably dangerous and they should watch out because knowing my dad, he'll go for the king.
Okay. I have a slight problem because I did scrying, which means I can't do greater restoration, so I can't bring people back.
Could we carry them?
Carefully, really carefully. It got very narrow.
Bithynia, your beast. Could it ferry them safely?
Potentially. However, my beast, if you're referring to Plummet, is not currently available. Could be.
You said you were on Plummet with you guys, right? Because of the time you
He's circling overhead.
yeah,
I think,
so I had
isn't he?
him circle overhead so that you could just tell me what you wanted to do with him. Plummet is here, as I believe you originally decided to bring him with you guys. Which I hand waved a little bit, but it's fine.
Okay, so I didn't know.
It's okay. It was
Okay.
It's all very difficult to keep track of.
DM
is available,
question,
yes.
Did we not find like a spell book last time that had like floating discs?
Yes. But to learn those takes time, doesn't it?
I can make 2 people fly.
I
for
will
10
double check the
minutes.
rules on transcribing stuff into a spell book real quick, specifically as it pertains to Ritual Caster, but over the course of the long rest, you would have had about a couple hours downtime as part of that long rest, Bithynia, so you may be able to do some amount of transcription. Let me just browse feats a second, sorry. Feats?
Or, I mean, is it in a format on the book that you could use? I mean, I guess, to be honest, I suppose you'd need to then... Or you can just do your spells whenever, you don't need to think which ones you need at the start, when dawn comes, do you?
So it takes 2 hours
Magic.
per level of the spell, and costs 50 gold pieces per level, which in sort of specialized inks, which I'll say that you have some amount of... we'll say you have about 50 gold worth, because you will only be able to transcribe, I think, 1 level of spell, so we'll say you were carrying that innately. So Floating Disc, I believe, is a level 1 spell, so let me just double check that. So Floating Disc is first level, so is Unseen Servant. I can't remember what the third spell in the... so if you... oh wait, as I put it into Skype, sorry. About this is... So, Feign Death, Unseen Servant, and Floating Disc were the 3 rituals in there. I think they're all level 1. Third level, so you couldn't do Feign Death, but you could, you would have had the time and the rare inks worth of gold to transcribe either Floating Disc or Unseen Servant into your ritual spells, and you may add that as part of the process. So you'll need to choose which one you devoted your downtime last night to transcribing.
Ooh. You said unseen
Servant
is
and,
one of the
Floating
options?
Disc, yes.
But we need... I think that floating disc would be better for this, because it can hold up to 500 pounds.
I don't know if I would know. Just, we may want to double check the wording, because I don't know whether or not that's something that can't move through certain spaces if it's too narrow. So it would only carry it while it has the space to, and it doesn't carry things, it doesn't allow them to float over.
It says it can move across uneven terrain, up and down stairs, slopes, and the like, but it can't cross an elevation change of 10 feet or more.
Does it say how wide it is?
It says that it's 3 feet in diameter and 1 inch thick.
That would just about fit most places.
I'll shut up then. May want someone just to steer the stone as we navigate.
Yeah, the person who does it has to be within 20 feet of it while moving, whereas the unseen servant is a 60-foot range.
Might as well try. Either way, unless Amalia, unless you think that it was made sense to go up against, so if there was a bear, probably might as well go back.
Going back.
Alright.
Get the bear. but it's not important. Saving the survivors order.
We should move quickly. We're wasting daylight.
So we have the floating desk.
What's in order?
I will navigate. I learned this terrain as we traveled. I can help us avoid danger. He'll take the lead and make a survival
And I'll be
check.
right back.
Natural
Okay,
13 plus 6. So with Rorak in the lead, it is easy enough to retrace your steps. And yeah, Bithynia traces the incantation, the new one that she has learned. And after the 10 minutes, brong, a sort of brass solid disc with inlaid with sort of the kind
Just
of
like
carving
there.
in. Oh, sorry, yeah. Oh,
It's just there, floating 3 feet above the air.
yep. The
Ornate.
yeah, ornate with sort of filigree, very endemic to Meletis and sort of the architecture of the grand old buildings, and it's just sort of floats in place, completely suspended in the air without any sort of wires or anything to that effect.
I sit on it while we get closer. While we wait to get closer, because it's like a little ferry.
Perhaps we should assign that seat to someone who's more likely to break the ice.
It's going to see.
We have a few of those.
Opens his mouth to say something, but he hasn't quite. Like, you know when you get those chairs that just turn of their own accord.
Yep.
He's kind of like gone off, and he gets up.
We should put the trap on there.
Rorak turns to you, Bakios, and says, "The rest of us can survive the cold. We don't want you catching hypothermia again."
Oh, don't need to worry about me. I'm a big, strong boy. I can do what. And I take out my my elastic band from my waist and put my beard back over my head in a top knot to give myself a balaclava.
Very well.
I can handle it.
Amalia, as inelegant as it is, your armor makes you vulnerable.
What happened now?
You may wish to be seated upon this disc to avoid cracking through the ice.
At least until we get.
So I have.
the other ones.
So hold on a minute, let me get this straight. You want me to sit on the disc to break any ice that may or may not hit the disc?
If I say yes, will you do it?
Yeah, that's
Then
fine.
sure, that's what I said. And he just goes to the front and begins taking, just begins leading the party. And yeah, bit by bit, you guys do manage to retrace your steps. And the actual section, which is this sort of ice strait, isn't actually terribly large compared to the journey you've traveled. So within about, if I recall correctly, an hour or so, maybe 2, you guys do find yourselves back at the entrance side, as it were. And you notice that the illusion has, the hallucinatory terrain has faded at this point. And fortunately, remained undiscovered. And you find the statues still there.
What's the condition of the Medusa? Is that still still unaffected as well?
Yeah. Oh, I will need you, Bokios, to roll 2 Constitution saving throws. Let me just double check.
You get a +4 if you're close enough to me.
Yes, so 2 Constitution saving throws, please, for the 2 hours of travel time.
Oh, I'm never going to stay far away from you. All right, +4, excellent. So that is D20 plus 13. Love it.
The DC's 10, so unless you roll a natural 1.
Yeah, I'm good. I rolled a 9 and a 4, but both times.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
So
I'm a big, strong, meaty boy.
So You say that out loud to yourself, Bokyos, unbeknownst to you. Xanthia is sort of just standing there, sort of like radiating a holy energy, like perpetually, slightly, almost like a little radiator, and just generating a little aura of warmth innately.
Oh, yeah. You're pretty hot, literally, you know.
Actually, I'm cold-blooded, but thank you.
Oh shit! I said that out loud. Yeah, you're welcome.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Rorak just mutters something to himself in Leonan.
Which I understand, so. Speak Leonin,
It's just, what did I do to deserve this?
And I reply, many things, my friend. Many things. In Leonin.
He just says, fuck you, buddy.
I mean, when? I mean, that'll keep me warm.
So, Valera. A true Akroan. So, Hilira.
Yeah.
You cannot restore one today, I believe.
No. No. I can try and heal, but I don't think that's gonna work. But I can try if you need me to.
I think we tried. That didn't work.
Did we try healing? I don't remember.
We know that the restoration would work. And in case we need that spell for us later, might be best not to waste it. Unless we were resting now, which I don't think we are.
No.
We have a slight dilemma as well.
Oh, yeah.
He holds up a small tuft of tawny fur between two of his claws. I found this about 100 feet back. He came back through this way.
Well, shit.
Wait, who came back through this way?
Varagon.
Fuck's sake.
Wait, but we didn't see it on the way in.
This is more than a few days old.
That's comforting.
If any of you who put so much faith in your gods can ask them for guidance. And you can tell that it's killing him to have to say this. Amalia, you especially would know that this is borderline... No, this is sacrilege for the Leonan. I will beg you to do so. I can keep following this, but we don't know how far away it is.
I'm willing to try. I don't think I'm the right person, but I'm willing to try if you need me to.
Please. Anything. I need to make this right. For Krisha.
Okay. I'll just go into a
Yeah.
corner.
Gonna get
Okay.
I'm just gonna start like whispering to my unicorn, like, bro, I really need your help right now. Like, the tensions are running high and I don't really know what to do. Cause I only have like spells that help people and heal people. I didn't think to pack like a spell that would like help me like talk to a god. Cause like, you know, you and I, we chat a lot and like now I really need you and now you're not here and I'm just talking to a freaking unicorn and I feel so stupid right now. I know my plans suck and I don't know what's going on anymore.
Let it go. Let it go.
Really pushing your luck.
You are having mental breakdown right now. Calm down. Your plan was great.
Just trying to...
The plan's
You're
still
perfectly fine.
gonna
Love you.
happen. We need to get whoever's the ones left. We need to get them out so that they have a chance of recovering from this.
Are
That's
you
a good
taking
first
the
step.
Medusa? What's happening with the Medusa?
I'm gonna say, Helira, roll a d100. Why not?
Okay.
Katina looks away and doesn't
I
immediately
rolled
answer.
a 5 and double 0.
So 50.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be 50.
Yeah.
There is no response.
Fuck. Asshole.
It would have had to have been pretty lucky roll to override using any kind of spell or divine intervention. Which, do you have divine intervention? I don't think so.
No, not yet. I think it comes at level 10.
Yeah.
Maybe we should load up the disc before it. How long does the disc last?
The disc lasts for a good amount of time, actually. It'll get the job done. 1 hour. It'll last for 1 hour. That should be enough time, yeah?
If we load it up now, I guess. I don't know how long it's been to travel, but I think so.
And it can hold up to 500 pounds, but we also have Plummet who can carry things.
I will say, actually, just real quick, you do hear one thing, Helira. My dear, you're liable to wake the dead. You have, fancy new abilities. Have a play. It is all about traversing great distances quickly. Have some fun. See what you can do. And, that's the end of it. Well.
Okay, so... Okay.
Roak takes your silence as a, sign of ill omen and says, "Thank you." Turns to you, Amalia. I don't have the right to ask you to give up your vengeance to save my sister.
I told you, the first plan is to save them. He comes second.
Thank you.
However, he is going to the king. So as soon as we get into town after we've saved them, I'm going to the king.
Yes, the speaker
But
may
I
be able
promised
to.
you we would save your family. I promised you I would save your family. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's get them on this disc. Let's get them on Plummet. If we find Plummet, and we need to do this as fast as possible.
I had hoped to be able to restore at least one, for they would be able to carry others. Are you alright, Bithynia? You seem to have fallen down a flight of stairs.
I think Plummet has just arrived.
Yeah, and actually that works out
Plummet
perfectly.
Plummeted to a landing.
Anyone have any preference on who and what goes on Plummet?
This is stone we're talking of. I don't doubt your beast's strength, but those are dangerous skies. Being weighed down so heavily may be not ideal. Something smaller, perhaps.
Yes, I think this, Can I take the Medusa on Plymouth, please?
You want to take that thing with us?
Just so we're outside, but yes, please.
Okay, that's okay. I can still make people fly if we need to. So just let me know if you want to fly.
You say still like you mentioned that before.
Yeah, you don't want to fly?
Yes.
You don't want to be a freaking
Yes,
bird?
I want to fly. Maybe you should have
Okay.
led with that.
Okay, fine. I'll cast fly on Varagon and on Bukios.
To be fair, she did say she could do the fly thing before. I don't think you were listening.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's
this
probably
is totally
that's
awesome.
a DM bad. How long does fly last, by the way?
10 minutes, so you gotta hurry up. And it's concentration, and I can do 2 people, and I can do it for 30 minutes total, so you gotta hurry
Whatever
up.
lets us cover more
Oh.
ground within the tunnels. Bukios,
Let's
you and I
go.
will take a statue each.
Oh, okay. This has been a fantasy of mine forever. This is awesome. Oh, this is awesome. I hope I see someone I don't like so I can poo on them. They'll think it's lucky.
You need to stop talking.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Bithynia, if you can ride your mount with Skotinos, that would resolve that situation. Turns to you,
Fantastic. Done it.
Xanthia, and
I'm on it.
Amalia. I don't know about the two of you. One of you may be able to ride the disc. The other will have to make do. Turns to you, Hilira. I presume you can run really fast. He smiles.
Yeah.
That would just leave you unaccounted for, Xanthia.
I can walk. It's fine.
Very well.
Okay, so how does this spell take form? Do we sprout wings or can we just innately
You
fly?
Just innately fly. You whoa!
Oh. Oh my god, I've always wanted to be a Super Saiyan.
We don't have much time. We should move quickly.
Right, let's go. Who am I taking? Which one of these bastards?
He hands you a slightly.
Just pick one
There's a
up.
slightly Tobia Leonan that had a sort of big old like two-handed cleaver thing on his back, and he hands you that
Nice.
one. It's like noticeably the larger one. It's got a bit of like a pot belly thing going on, and it's sort of like because it's a
Fuck it.
big old
Okay
lump
now.
of stone, but you're just about able to lift it.
+5 to strength bonus. I fucking better hope so.
Lifts his sister.
As this is going on, can Amalia turn to Spotty and be like, you know how I said I think I like him now? He still annoys me.
You can even love people and still be annoyed by them.
Fine.
So, Finny, can I, take this one with us?
Do you have a means of getting it out?
I was hoping to use plummet.
The entire icicle.
How heavy does it
About
look?
comparable to one of the statues, as in like with all like the frozen, because it's like a popsicle basically. It's not like
Yeah.
sort of like realistic frozen to death like you might see in like a naturalistic movie, where it's just like a pallid corpse. It's full on Frozone style frozen.
Bithynia, if
Yes.
you are certain, absolutely certain, you could take this icicle out safely, I can walk with our new companion.
Yep. Yep. Load her up.
I mean it though, please be careful with it.
Yes. Plummet's the one who is off the rails, not me.
So
However.
there are a total of 6 statues, not including the main the Medusa or the Gorgon, because I'm gonna call them a Gorgon, because that's what they're called. Sorry, let me just pull up the Frost Gauntlet again. Yeah, so there's 6 statues of Leonan, not including the frozen Gorgon. So Plummet has 1. Vakios and Rorak each have 1, which means there are 3 left. I presume Xanthia is carrying 1.
Yep.
And Malia can carry another. There's 1 statue unaccounted for.
Scrutinas can carry the
On
last
the
one.
back
I can
of
try and
Plummet.
carry one
Plummet
as
would
well.
not be capable of supporting.
Oh, no. So Scrutinas is going to walk and carry 1. He's giving up his spot so that the Gorgon can take it.
Right.
And then he will walk and carry the last one. The last statue.
Turns to you, Bithynia. Right, turns to you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be grateful for your help, Scotinos. Bithynia, I saw you burn that ice witch. Could you burn this creature free?
Could we? Should we?
You could certainly try.
Please be careful.
Scotty, are you okay with this?
Not really. It depends on how. Well, you just please be careful.
If we're going to be carrying such weight, it wouldn't make sense to use flight. I'm going to say this is you haven't cast it yet. Otherwise, it probably would have expired by now. We'd be leaving some of you behind. We should just set out on foot together. Still, it would be helpful to lighten the load as much as possible. And all that extra ice would be problematic.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to carry one of these?
They're really heavy, as in it's almost like a full-on stone statue.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to carry it for any meaning, even with a really high roll on an athletics check. You wouldn't be able to carry it for a meaningful amount of time, unfortunately. Would
I be able to pick it up and do Sphinx displacement up to 60 feet?
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I don't believe that has any wording in terms of worn or carried. So as long as you can carry it, yeah, make an athletics check to as long as you can lift it up, make an athletics check.
17.
And you get it off just like you feel something in your back, but you're able to get it off the ground for just long enough that you vanish.
Sphinx displacement. Thank you. 60
And
feet.
you teleport 60
Out.
feet down to where you basically are at the mouth of where it goes into the caverns below the mountain.
Problem solved.
Where'd she go?
I don't know. Did
You
you take?
saw
Wait,
that, right?
did you
Like-
take did you take the statue or did you take the Gorgon?
Which one did you take, Bithynia?
I took the one that you wanted to be careful. You
Oh,
wanted,
that's Gorgon. Okay.
yeah. I took it.
I don't know.
Check the entrance. Where else would she have gone? And Rorak sort of like goes on all fours and sort of runs. But yet, he's able to. She's here. How many times can you do that?
So it echoes down into the cavern. I'm here.
How many times can you do that?
That was it. I was able to do it once, and then I'd need to do another short rest. However, time is of the essence, and I don't believe we have as much
Start
time.
at the very least. Let's just carry all we can.
So I took care of one, and Plummet has the other.
You've moved it 60 feet, but there's still about just over a day's worth of journey under the mountain to get out of the out of here.
Okay.
So there's 6 statues plus the Gorgon. So
Yeah.
seven things in total we need to carry. Plummet can take 1, potentially the Gorgon, leaving there 6. Both Barbarians take 2. Rorik taking 1. I'm guessing Sister, so that's 3. So we need this to do. Oh, we got the disc. We have the disc.
Yes, up to 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And the Gorgon's already
So,
up at the entrance, so move it up, go down, move it
Is
back.
the Gorgon at the entrance, or is it just 60 feet?
It's
further?
the
The
green is 60
Gorgon-
feet back the way you came, which would take it to be to about where the entrance is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we can use the disc for 500 for 2 of them, and then I guess me and Bithynia can share the last one. If 2 can balance on the disc and Hilira steers it so they don't bump into anything, we carry 1. Marley carries 1. Rorik carries 1.
I carry 1.
We
Rorik
definitely got
thinks
enough.
for a
Then,
moment.
yeah.
Give me a second. I may be able to help simplify this. And he sort of just thinks for a moment, and he'll quickly sort of go through his just a mental checklist of the bestiary of the world. What is the challenge rating of an elk? Two seconds. Sorry about this, everyone. Elk. I may be able to summon some beasts to lighten the burden. It would only be for an hour. If anyone has any suggestions, now is the time.
We might have it if Plummet flies overhead and meets us right. Like, can Plummet be trusted to travel unaided for a day, and then the rest of us can handle the rest? I think we should be okay.
Wait a second. And he sort of does a quick calculation in his head. And 1 second, just gonna double check to see if there's any other better option in the bestiary. Oh, I didn't realize. Alright, I have something. On one condition. Not a word from any of you. You will say nothing. And he will use Conjure Critters, which he has. Use the option to summon 8 beasts of challenge rating 0, which cannot deal any damage regardless of their statistics. And will select Giant Flies, which are a large creature. So there's just these just 8 giant flies that are the size of horses, all of a sudden summoned into existence. I said say nothing.
I was just gonna say they were cute, but okay.
Shut it.
Disgusting.
I didn't hear alternative suggestions, and they'll be able to lift a statue each.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, all good.
Well, we only have an hour.
Okay, so we gotta run.
Okay, let's hurry.
Just each one of them, like almost like a Amazon drone, just sort of like picks one up like an airlift. And then in like a squadron formation, they all like flutter one after the other down into the tunnel.
Nice.
Well, this is not how I imagined my day going. And you guys set off. So, Rorak can do that spell a total of 4 times. If he expends second level spell slots as well, that would be an additional 2 times. So that would be a total of 6 hours of time where he could airlift 8 statues.
Okay.
How many hours worth do we need to account for?
It would depend on the speed you fly at. Or as in, if you all choose to sort of mount up of your own accord, it would that would sort of inform that.
Okay.
What you could travel at a fast pace, which would with that and the flies, you could pushing it, and you would know, and Rorak would know this, get to the other side in about half a day.
Okay.
Taking some heavy penalties to perception checks as a result, though, if you're basically bull rushing it.
The weather seems like it's difficult to see stuff anyway, so we might as well go at that pace because I think we're already at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
fortunately you do manage to, when you go into the wider tunnels that go under the mountains, the weather ceases to become an issue. And so you all traverse one after the other, and with blinding speed, putting all your trust in that Rorak knows the way, you all venture under the mountain at a breakneck pace. And remarkably, a calm day with no nasty interactions comes about. A few pit stops are needed, but after he has expended his last spell slot, Rorak sort of comes to the end of that and says, "That's it, I don't have any more."
How long do we still have to go?
About 4
Sorry.
hours. You've managed to cut the total journey can be successfully cut down at the speed you were traveling at from 24 to 12 to get to the other side of the mountain, because you also have a ranger traveling with you who simplifies a lot of the checks that are required and doesn't get lost.
Okay.
However, he has expended his last spell slot.
Do we want to keep going for the last 4 hours?
Fine by me.
Okay, so we should all carry one and then just keep going?
Let's go. I'm game.
Okay. Who are the slowest among us?
In terms of movement speed, that would probably be the humans, barring the one who is a cleric of the god of speed.
Right.
And or the one who spent all of her money
Oh
on a
right,
mount.
actually, this might be on its head. I think the Triton has the lowest movement speed per se.
Guess
I
they
have
should water.
30 feet.
Okay, so if you're on Plummet, Bithynia, right? Are
I
you on
would assume
Plummet?
so.
If there's room for me and wait.
Okay, great. So that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the first hour that we're going, I will
Just be aware,
cast Long
The 4 hours was contingent upon using the giant flies to basically airlift these statues. It's going to be, if you continue, it would not be at the same speed.
So it'd probably be 8 hours.
Can nobody else summon
Okay,
beasts?
so I don't think I can.
No.
Worth checking.
Or we could rest and then continue the last 4 hours of this in the same way. And then once we're out, then it might be easier.
Short rests would do.
I'm in.
Then let's set up camp and take a short rest.
Thank you.
Will a short rest be sufficient for you?
I wouldn't regain my spells.
Then maybe we should rest for longer. Because otherwise, I don't know what we'd be gaining stopping.
I could do one more summon if I made use of that helmet of yours. After.
Oh yes.
Wait, no, I'd have to.
Of course.
I'm the only one who knows that spell.
You'd have to have used it, then it would have been a future.
Never mind, sorry.
Let's rest. Let's.
Very well.
And then we can do that. We can.
Sure. Let's go. They're not going to get any more stone here.
You're not wrong, but also you're an asshole.
Yeah, but give me a wipe and at least have a clean one.
I am going to stab you at some point. I don't care what happens to me after. But you guys, Bithynia once again summons the dome after Rorak finds a secluded spot away from any underground baddies. You guys make a note to bunker down and try to nap as quickly as possible to regain everything. Bithynia, as you have not expended any spell slots, you would have an opportunity to replenish the helmet right now, should you so choose. I think we may be MIA on Bithynia for a moment, so I'll switch the camera.
Oh. We lost Rebecca.
Okay, I'm sure she'll be back in a moment. For the moment, just so it's not jumped upon, wasn't just so that it is jumped upon. I will say she popped.
Oh,
she's back.
So Bithynia, you would have an opportunity to, as you have not used any spell slots, you would have an opportunity to replenish the helmet.
Yes, I will do. And I'll also get my spot back for my use of teleportation or displacement.
Very well. What spell do you choose?
Does anyone have any recommendations?
For the helmet? Healing has always been useful, just in case we come across anything.
Healing it is. So the thing I takes the helm
That's
then.
the healing spell slot. Very well. So
I will do it.
You are dumping a 4th level which spell?
A 4th level, la 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 la. I'll put 4th level healing word
Very
in
well.
there.
So make a note of that, Bithynia. You have a 4th level healing word.
Got it. Thank you.
You bed down as quickly as possible, and an aggressive rest is had. Basically, many of you don't even dream. You simply are filled with too much of a sense of urgency, and just have this restful, but also in some ways restless, functional sleep. Almost as if you're in a sort of like survival mode or military mode. But
I wish I could do that for real.
Rorak gets you guys up at the crack of dawn 8 hours later. Actually, so you guys set out, it would be... Actually, so based on that, it would be almost like 2 a.m. in the at night, based on when you chose to take the long rest. You guys decided to take one at what would have been approximately mid-afternoon, but you guys have noticed at this point, it's still pitch black. And once again, Rorak summons 8 giant flies.
Can I do something? Can I walk over to Grisa and just put my hand? The sister. Grisa? Sorry, Grisha. Look, touch. It's hard. And I will touch her face. And I will cast Greater Restoration on her.
And as you do, you release this golden light, which almost like a sort of membrane. It seems to like just sort of unsheath the stone on her body with this light. And all of a sudden,
Sorry.
like just instinctually goes to make a claw swipe at you. As she does so, there's like a sort of parrying motion from Rorak.
Grisha, you're safe.
He just grabs her and pulls her close. You notice now, a little hidden under the stone, Krisha is armored in a fashion similar to Amalia. You get the sense that she also was not really taught in the manner endemic to dust crawlers.
Where am I? Where are the others? We were surrounded by wisps. They led us to that frozen icicle. Who are you all? Rorak, why are you here? Came to join us after all, you fucking weakling.
Oh, whoa, that's just a little bit rude, my lady. Like, can we just back the fuck up a little bit? Be my pleasure. Anyways, my name's Hilira. I came to save your sorry ass because Rorak asked us to. We also
You
came
accepted help
to
from
kill.
humans.
Well, I'm still talking, darling. Yes, eyes over
And
here,
I am
please.
done
Thank
listening,
you.
child.
No.
I'd like to. Can she make a Constitution saving throw, please?
Yeah, sure. That is a 24. Natural 18.
Okay, cool. I attempted to subtle cast Blood Clench.
What was that?
As this is happening, I'm slowly making my way in front of Hilaria, sort of half concealing her body with mine.
So, like, what happened to the guy
Chemical
with the scar?
Ash, thank you
I
so
can
much for
never
the follow.
remember his
Welcome,
name.
welcome. Sorry, just had to.
Oh, hi.
Oh.
So, what happened to Varagon? Amalia's dad.
He was right behind us. Where is he?
Yeah. He fucking left you.
No, you lie.
And then she turns, and at this point she notices Amalia, and her copus, which she sort of still has been holding this whole time, just drops from her hand.
You.
Me? What about
You
me?
died.
No, I didn't. I'm perfectly still right
How
here,
is this
bitch.
possible?
And you notice her demeanor has changed on a dime.
Because he lied. I never died. I went away and he never came to find me.
No,
Can I
you're
punch
lying.
her?
This isn't.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll.
This is about to go to hell.
Worth it.
So worth it. Come on, Erebos, bring her to hell, please. What am I doing? Athletics?
No, just a Just a
punching
straight
her, aren't
attack
you?
roll. Make sure you don't count your... Because using a fist, make sure you don't count your bonuses from the axe. Which I believe...
There should be an unarmed strike option anyway.
So is it a strength?
It's,
like,
it's
throw,
unarmed
or what is-
strike. In your actions, under attack, there should be unarmed
Correct.
strike.
Oh, okay. I see. Thank you, Scotty. Slash Morse. $15.
15 just misses. She has a sort of scale mail, like an armor of bronze scales adorning her, and she just manages to raise her shield in time and just deflects the punch.
I've never feared you.
And you remember
I
a
didn't
much younger
ask
Krisha saying the
for
same
you.
thing. And then at this point, a deafening roar cuts out just throughout the room. As Rorak uses his daunting roar Leonan racial trait to silence everyone, hopefully.
Krisha, they speak the truth. Varagon abandoned us. He slaughtered our matriarch in cold blood. He betrayed us all. Now, you lie.
Heliata, you in particular, with your passive insight, pick up that her resolve is faltering.
You wouldn't do this. We were gonna clear the Frost Gauntlet. We were gonna have glory. All would respect the Dust Crawler.
So he's clearly brainwashed you into thinking that you're perfectly fine when he killed everyone else and took glory for himself.
Have a look around,
He's
Leonin.
really gonna...
Everyone else you see made of stone, and Amalia, and Borak. That's what's left. That's all that's left of your clan.
And Rorak says,
Think, Krisha. If he were the leader you believe him to be, where is he now? You think he'd be capable? You think
shit, that is the DM's fault.
You really think him incapable of besting us if we were foe?
And
He's already lied to you once about me, saying I died. I'm standing right here in front of you. And he was the one that killed my mother in front of me.
No. Because if you're telling the truth, then my whole life is a lie.
and you see the tears beginning to well
My
against
whole
her golden
childhood.
eyes.
You're lying. You have to be lying. Rorak, tell me she's lying.
She raises her sword,
And
and then
grab
as she
her by the
swings it down, she
shoulders.
just slashes it onto the ground. It clatters, clang, 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 clang. And she just roars a half roar, half sob. And just drops to her knees and begins slamming the rock with her fists. And after a couple strikes, you see she's already drawn blood from her knuckles as she just does not relent. And Rorak tries vainly to get her to stop, but he, being more dexterity based, isn't actually strong enough to stop her, and she just starts turning her knuckles into a bloody mess. And then just gives up.
Can I grab her by the shoulders to like...
Yes, you can. She
Okay,
fights for half a
fine.
second, and then she just falls apart in your hands and just begins sobbing.
It's gonna be okay. Calm down. Stop beating yourself up about it. He's a manipulator. It's what he does. Just please stop hurting yourself.
I was so loyal. I followed him without question. I believed everything he said.
You were young. He was the leader, of course. Okay.
He took...
She looks up at Rorak and she sort of gestures them to
Rorak
like kind
kneels
of
down and sort
walk
of
forward
just
so he can
presses
pass
his
her.
forehead to hers and says,
Varagon took everything from us. The petrified warriors you see here are all that remain. Everyone else perished in the Frost Gauntlet.
and she wails at that, but
Krisha, focus. We still live. Our matriarch still yet lives. We cannot change what has happened. I've learned that already. But there yet may be time to carve our vengeance into his heart. So, with plenty time later to grieve, what are you gonna do now, warrior?
Carisha's expression morphs from anguish to just a cold hatred that rivals Ithra. And you for a second wonder if you should check for icicles, but no, this is real. And Carisha just stands up, gathers her copus, sheaths it, turns to you, Amalia.
What now, Matriarch Amalia?
I'm not taking that mantle, and you know full very well why I would not take that mantle. She looks at Rorak, and she looks back at her sister and is like,
But for
"What?
now,
We're gonna unpick her first."
no, carry on.
Go on, Scotty.
No, I was saying for now, at least tell them what to do, because I think they need direction at least.
For now, we're gonna unpetrify everyone else. Trying to find a way to do that. I don't know how. But for now, we're not going for vengeance just yet. We need to go to the king before that. And then we'll carve his heart out and watch him slowly bleed out and die into things so he can rot in hell for all eternity. But until then...
What of the woman?
The woman?
Yeah, we need to figure out what the hell she is.
Do you know who she is?
The one that needed to her face.
She met us at the entrance of the Frost Gauntlet. Varagon said she was to be our guide and aid. I thought it
was always a lure.
I thought it odd to accept help from a human. But she knew things.
She wasn't.
Secret entrances allowed us to get here quickly. To get there quickly. She did
I don't
not speak much
think
with
she was
us.
human.
Only with Varagon.
Did she say anything? Anything, I don't know, like something weird or specific that you just thought, why would she say that?
Let me just quickly. She's gonna make a intelligence check.
I made a point to avoid her. She kept giggling to herself for no reason.
When she introduced herself, did she say what her name was?
Rorak said she went by Birra.
Does the name mean anything to anyone?
Yeah, does that mean anything?
Anybody who wants to can make a history check.
Sure.
11 for Scotty. I've been spending this whole time. I'm stood, kind of not in hiding, but very poignantly positioned in front of the Gorgon, just in case she gets ideas. 11 in total.
I got a nat 1.
Oh no.
All right.
Footlong sandwich.
Oh no.
Which, to be fair, would track, as you wouldn't. Well, I don't think it's necessarily a spoiler to say that the Venn diagram of your social circles with this person is just
non-existent.
Sorry, what did everybody roll again? Everybody else?
11.
9.
Doesn't ring a bell to either of the two of you.
And this is our initiative.
No, sorry, this is just a history check to anybody who wants to. At the sound of the name Birra, which, if anybody is taking notes, is spelt. Oh God, why didn't this update? God damn it.
23 for me.
Whoa, nice.
I rolled a sandwich.
Oh no.
A really nice thick sandwich.
A frozen,
like all the
an
layers.
icicle sandwich.
You actually, surprisingly, Scotty, you have no idea where Amalia managed to produce the Reuben sandwich from, but she is like full on sauerkraut and everything, just chomping into it right now, quite loudly. As Bithynia with was a 23.
It's quite weird though.
Yeah.
Like all soggy and like
Dear
weird
Lord.
looking.
Oh,
So
come on.
it's all right. So Pyrrha is spelled Pyrrha.
My spelling was way off.
Mine as well.
Yeah. Xanthia just
Yeah.
clocked out. No thoughts set empty.
Bithynia, you can't help but think for a moment, and you think back.
Thinking. That's what I'm good at.
Damn straight.
Mm.
And you recall being a young woman on the campus of the Decatia. In the same lecture halls as, for specifically ancient classes on ancient lore. A classmate who went by the name of Birra. You recall her being fairly reclusive, kept mainly to herself. You aren't even sure necessarily that this is the same person. It isn't a especially rare name or anything like that, but you do recall a woman by the name of Pyrrha who you always found just kept to herself. I'll say that's what you recall with 23.
Reserved. Okay. Do I know anything about where she's at now, or what she's doing,
You
or?
haven't really seen her She disappeared. No, not disappeared, but you haven't seen sight or mention of her since graduation, for lack of a better term, and she shyly accepted her diploma along with everybody else, and you know, didn't attend any of the graduations, festivities, or anything to that effect. Just one day you start seeing her.
Curious. Unsolved mystery. At least she didn't burn it down before she
You believe these
graduated.
would be one and the same?
Okay.
Rorak asks you.
Question.
Yes, Amalia?
Yeah, would have she heard like any gossip or something like that from Melissa about her whereabouts after? Or like what became of her?
Are you asking the DM, or...?
I'm just asking, like, if the senior heard anything after she, like, disappeared. Like, any talk from the town or anything like that.
There's not much to go off of. I wish I could help, but other than being a graduate, I wasn't able to get anything else from.
And you're sure this is the same person?
It's highly probable, without seeing it on hand, or seeing them face to face. Yes. However, the university isn't that big.
Oh,
The
sorry.
students.
Helira, you saw her face, right?
Yeah,
Have you any magic?
I think
have you
I
any magic
did.
to conjure an image?
Well, I don't know. Let me see if I still have that spell. Lost so many spells. I'm so sad.
I do believe this guy's self in particular was a trickery domain spell.
I'm trying to look for it. I did lose polymorph, which I'm
And it
devastated
would not be able
about.
to turn you into a humanoid. But that's not what you meant, sorry.
No, just in general, I was like really upset that I lost it. I can't find it. I'm trying to look
Perhaps
for it.
if we did it the other way round, what if Bithynia used the Staff of Illusions to turn into what you remember she kind of looked like? Would that
Smart.
work?
Yes, Scotty, this is why you're my best friend.
We do have that option.
I can put a instance of disguise self into the helmet as well, if that is helpful. Whichever you would prefer.
The staff regenerates anyway.
So do I.
Yep.
But we need the flies. Hashtag brand new sentence.
Do this. I say use the staff,
That would make the most sense.
and then we should
I
move
agree.
because
Yeah.
we still have a ways to go.
And you would like to put disguise self into it for one charge?
I thought we would have you become your last memory
Use the
of
stuff.
this Piera.
What if you put one charge in the spell and then we like do a little countdown and then we do it at the same time?
How does that tell us something else that we wouldn't know doing it the normal way?
Because it's funner, and I can't say yes. That's exactly what the person looked like, and later on it was like, oh no, her eyes were brown and not blue.
It's been
you know?
years.
In very Kronk-esque, he's gonna go to Rock and go, no. She's got a point.
Rorak looks at his war spike and briefly contemplates, just like in his own head, but
Bithynia, could you make yourself look like this person?
I certainly could try.
It would help. Understand. I think. Give us something to go off of.
Okay.
There's too much we don't know yet.
Okay. So,
Note to self, create fewer NPCs with gravelly voices.
so yeah, you can prepare the staff of the Mirage.
Twirling it almost like a cheer baton, Bithynia does like a... And as the sort of the staff passes over her, almost like a magician's sleight of hand illusion. Exactly.
Just like-
And then as she twirls the staff, standing there is... And you're taken aback, Heliata, because... The eyes are a pleasant hazel. The face is significantly more cherubin. Younger, obviously. The illusion of the girl standing before you can't be older than 17. And seems to be slightly curvier in this image in terms of just sort of appears a healthy weight compared to the gaunt figure you saw before. But the bone structure and the face in and of itself are unmistakable. And it's unsettling
I'm gonna
because
like instinctively back away.
It's like seeing... Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, the actor who plays, like, a horror monster, like, without all the prosthetics and stuff. It's like seeing, like, the actress who plays The Grudge, just like enormous, like, "Duh, you were so terrifying last time I saw you. What? This is weird." It's that kind of a feeling.
So, yeah, that's the same person. So that's fun for us. Also, I have another question. What color were Varagon's eyes through the entire journey? Please, yeah.
Green.
Just checking.
She shrugs.
What kind of a...
Every day were they green?
Every day I was with him.
Okay. They didn't turn like blue.
No. What happened in there?
Well, his eyes turned
There was a
blue.
baby Titan, and he must have said to go on her side. Hence why everyone else died, and now he has powers. Fuck's sake.
Krisha just says, like, the obvious, "We should move." And Rorak says,
Flies.
and he summons more giant flies, and it just starts ferrying them away, the statues.
I'm going to make sure that Skatinos is very close to the fly that's carrying the Gorgon, and just keep an eye and make sure that... not that he's trying to... you can't hide that there's an enormous icicle that's coming with us, but it's just staying near it just in
Well,
case.
actually, the under the mountain is, all these packed layers of rock is fairly toasty relative to the frost gauntlet. So the frozen Gorgon is a lot slicker and wetter as the ice is beginning to melt.
Would it be something that Skatinos would be able to comfortably carry? Oh no, not at pace. We want to go at a fast pace.
Well, so Rorak is casting. So this spell is actually a little bonkers, so I may have to revisit it. But for the moment, we'll say that it's there. So find critters. Oh no, or conjure critters. I can't remember what the conjure critters. When you cast it at oh god, 3rd level. Never mind. So it's the same at the amount of critters doubles every 2 levels, but he can only cast at 2nd level because he doesn't have that many levels in Ranger, so it's the same. But with Krisha now not taking up a slot, there is a extra like fly that can carry shit.
Cool. Skatinos will just let it carry it for the time being, but if it melts enough that it's comfortable for Skatinos to carry, his walking speed is about 45 feet. As soon as it's light enough to carry comfortably, Skatinos will carry the Gorgon the rest of the way.
There is a certain point where, like, the ice kind of just, like, and gives way as it sort of melted away, and you realize that, there was about maybe 30% of the, lower half left. Everything else seems to have been destroyed by something. She's kind of like...
That's fine. I'll
torso
carry
and
what is
then,
there.
like, about 2 feet of the sort of tail body section, and then everything else seems to have been cut off.
Yeah.
And so,
No
you
problem.
carry it. But, just a couple hours later, about 4 hours later, you guys reach that incredibly narrow strait that you know leads out of the mountain.
So then, how do we continue onwards?
We'll need to shimmy. It's not really possible to fly overhead. We'll be moving really slowly if we try to push the statues through. Without turning them first.
Yeah.
They may be stuck here.
Krisha sort of... like just... It's like a... not so much a roar, but like a snarl of frustration.
How far is the small gap?
It's a 2-foot wide gap.
Okay, and how far?
Oh, it's
How many feet?
God, what did I say last time? 500 feet, something like that.
How far away?
300
once
feet,
we're
sorry,
on the other
300
side,
feet.
how far away is
I said 300.
is civilization?
You know it took you a day and a half to get here from Tethmos traveling with Rorak. Rorak lets you travel a little bit faster because of his ranger capabilities.
I have more spell slots. If we can just get through this.
So,
I have mine as well, so.
so can we just carry the statues across, going really slowly and really carefully?
Rorak looks at them.
If the statues had been petrified, standing perfectly upright, with their arms by their sides, perhaps. We aren't so lucky.
What if looking up, we can see overhead, right?
Kind of. There's like little cracks and crevices that you see glints of light, but it's still...
How far back would we need to go before we could see overhead again?
So it's darkness from here until the Frost Gauntlet.
Bugger.
Can we widen this gap somehow?
Turns to you, Barkios.
You like destroying things?
I mean, yeah, but this is a pretty... How far
It's like
far is the
300
gap?
feet.
How far is it through? I mean...
What if, looking up, what if, would it be more possible for us to, if we backed up a little bit and try and break a hole through the ice? There are gaps.
So it's all rock
and
at this
then
point.
plummet.
You guys have left the frost
Oh.
portion of this Frost Gauntlet behind. It
bugger.
is sort of rocky tunnels.
It may be possible, but I fear we'd bring the cavern down on our heads.
Or we take the arrow to the knee, as it were, and rest a few nights and restore as many as we can each day. It's a lot of time.
I can probably do 2 more, and then I'm out of Diamond. I think I need diamond for my components. Yes.
Oh.
I can do 2 more people, and then I'm out of diamond.
I don't know if I have any diamond left, because I think I gave
realistically,
you what I had.
If I wanted to widen the hole by 300 feet, enough for us to get these things out of here, would that's not going to be physically possible, because this is ice,
No, it's
right?
rock.
It's rock. Yeah, there's no way I can mine through 300 feet of rock as a barbarian with
If you had
a
a
bone axe.
mole, maybe, but you.
Yeah, there's not really going to happen. No.
You get the sense it would be
I have
obnoxiously
one
difficult,
last-
but you also get the sense that it may not be more obnoxiously difficult than trying to shimmy the statues through the crevice.
In that sense, then I would like to take a swing with my axe
Go
to
ahead and
see
make an
what
attack
happens.
roll.
Just that's a
Let's go ahead and
23.
roll damage.
Jesus, I'm not raging as well, so this is just that plus that. That's that plus that. That is 15 points of damage.
You managed to knock off, I'd say, about a square foot of rubble. Or then you turn a square foot of it into rubble.
5,000 more to go.
Who taught you math?
Before you do that,
Matt, what's Matt?
Exactly. Rorak thinks for a moment and just grits his teeth and says,
There's one other option. Krisha and I will linger. Set up a defensive situation. Send for help to deal with these statues. We'll just slow you down, as it is. The rest of you go after Varagon and end this.
Let's do it.
or we could go back and they could send some more people that are more able to deal with this
We
rapidly
can
and
do
more
that.
effectively.
I can travel. They may not listen to me per se, but they'll listen to this.
Okay, while this is going on, Scatinos is going to just try another thing anyway. Can I attempt to try and cast my form of gaseous form on one of the statues?
you could certainly try.
I'm going to attempt it to see if it does
Let
work.
me do a little bit of research while I'm at it. Petrified. What is the wording of gaseous form?
Well, bearing in mind, mine's somewhat amended because it's the
Sure,
blood
but
puddle equivalent. But the wording of gaseous form is you transform a willing creature you touch, along with everything it's wearing and carrying.
I'm gonna say that because it is unknowing, it cannot be willing.
No problem at all. That's always a safe rule to play in all circumstances. I attempt the gaseous, the blood form once, just as everything's going on.
You sense there is life even within the stone as it touches upon something, but you understand the nature of the magic requiring sort of consent to be let in is not possible to give in this form.
Yeah.
Would I know anybody that is a cleric as well?
What, like in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be a few.
Okay, can I just, in my brain, just pick the one that would be willing to help me? And then I'm gonna cast Sending.
Okay. I need to think about this for a moment. Fuck. No, it's okay. I just,
You broke the DM.
your mind comes back to, one, war priest, who you recall, providing war sermons to the, athletes back, or was it the competitors back at the arena of Akros by the name of Nikolaos.
Nicholas. And they liked me?
They seemed, he seemed fairly, I guess, indifferent. Necessarily, like, got on with you well enough. You,
Okay.
skip over people you fear may, tell people you don't want knowing too much information about where you are or
Okay.
how you're doing. And sort of, he was, like, the highest person on the list, who would be reasonably likely to keep his mouth shut.
Okay, so I will send him a message.
Okay, what is the wording of your message?
My dearest... Nicholas?
Nikolaos, but yes, Nikolaos.
Nikolaus. Like Niklaus. Okay. Need help. Frost Gauntlet. Come fast. Bring healing. Please. It's Hilira, by the way. Don't tell my dad.
XOXO.
Bye.
About a minute passes.
Do we hear you say
Yeah,
that, by the way?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're waiting, going, maybe you should have asked for restoration rather than healing, but we'll take what we get.
Hilira? It's been a while. What is a frost gauntlet?
Idiot.
And why do I need to keep this a secret from your parents? Hope you're doing okay. That's the last thing you hear.
Okay, well, I'm ditching that plan.
Gorak, despite
I will-
everything, manages a small smile and says, there may not be holy practitioners amongst the Leonan, but there are those
Yeah.
who understand well enough about the arcane arts that they may be able to apply alchemy
Oh, there was
to remedy this.
There was the Leonan that could teleport. Wasn't there? What was the Leonan that could teleport? Let me look at my notes. Let me look at my name list.
The man who held his axe to my
Johnny! I will send a message to him as well. I'm burning through my spells because it's
Okay.
fun. I will send a message. I will go. My dearest Agani.
Great start.
Of course. We went to the Frost Gauntlet. It's going okay. Need some help at entrance. Please send some. Maybe healers? Petrified people here. Okay. Have a nice day. Bye.
Roll a
I think you get to have a nice, and then you run out of your 25 words.
I'm gonna say roll a persuasion check, and Johnny is going to roll a insight check, I guess.
Where's my
Okay,
persuasion?
I don't actually have a stat block for a Johnny handy, but it would be something like a level 20 paladin. So for the relatively new players, Johnny is a character from the Magic the Gathering Times of Theros, a planeswalker. He's one of the planeswalker cards. He is one of the, which you guys would know in game as well, is one of the former heroes who helped kill Xenagos, the renegade satyr turned god. An event that occurred about 19 years ago, relative to where you guys are today. Alongside Elspeth, who you haven't met personally, Xanthia, but you've seen her around in Meletis, where she resides as the keeper of the Pyrignos, the Tower of Arcane Knowledge.
Okay, cool.
I rolled a 14.
Fortunately, he rolled really high on his insight check, just based on a generic stat block. I throw it together in my head. And after a moment, you hear if you thought Nazros had like a, voice that sets a fire going in your belly, the voice you hear in your head makes Nazros' voice sound like a kitten's mule. My, you are a bold one. I sense there is more to learn about this situation. I will do what I can. Be well. That's it, and that's it.
Great. Cool. Hilara's very flustered right now.
You're all right. You look a little bit flushed.
I am fine. I just need to tell Nazareth something. He's gonna love it. Anyways, Rorak, I got you some help. There are people coming, so you won't have to wait too long. You won't have to leave here either. You can just stay here and be cozy and be toasty and like hang out, catch up. Then people should be coming to help you.
Very well. Thank you, Hilira. Nothing will ever be enough to repay this. But we will meet again. And if it takes 1,000 lifetimes, I will never stop trying to repay your kindness. All of you. Now grant me one last favor. And tear Varagon asunder.
I'll rip his bollocks off personally.
He smiles.
Good.
Rorak turns to you, Amalia, and reaches behind to his quiver that by now you get the sense maybe a little bigger on the inside, based on what you've seen about how he uses it. And again, with a flurry, like you, at no point have you seen him outright draw a war spike from anywhere on his body. He seems to almost just produce them like a magician, but he produces 10 of them in a small bundle.
These were hers.
And we lost Violet. We'll give it a second, but I'll say that Rorak continues.
I try to avoid using them, unless it was absolutely necessary. It didn't feel right. I never matched her skill. And you may not either, but they don't belong to me.
And he will hand Amalia her mother's war spikes. Which, Bakios, you spot, there is a small etching in Leonan on each one that just, has Amalia's mother's name on it.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Amalia just
Oh.
wordlessly takes them. And pops them away. Just gives them a nod.
Go. You haven't much time.
I cast the bloody Glacius form on Plummet so that we can take Plummet out again in the same way we did
And
before.
about half an hour of shimmying later, you guys come out the other end of the Frost Gauntlet. The narrow straight you...
I'm guessing at this point that it's now just Gorgon I've got. My
Yeah,
arm.
it's kind of like the worst version of Weekend at Bernie's right now in terms of how you're getting it through the straight.
Yep. No worries.
But you have that with you, and you guys emerge out into the open. You are greeted by a starry night sky.
Beautiful. Love it.
It is good to see the sky again. So, how do we continue onwards? Where do we have to go?
I think we have to go back to Oreskos.
And
It's for me. Let's go.
yeah,
Let's just
Yeah.
go.
let's go. Yes.
Very well. Can I get a marching order? So you guys are choosing to...
I'll be at the end.
You guys are traveling into the night, just to clarify. Okay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't create any kind of exhaustion or anything because you have just rested, but your sleep cycle may be slightly funky.
Yeah,
just
we'll-
for flavor.
That's fine.
Who else has dark vision? Anyone?
Yeah, hang on.
Holy shit! Yeah, no,
No.
nobody.
Snap.
Like Amalia does, but nobody else.
I
Oh
have
wait,
dark
what am I
vision.
saying? The warlock can see like forever.
Yeah, I was gonna say this girl right here. Also, I have plummet, so I could fly up and get an advantage point if I wanted or needed.
I dabbed some dark vision blood in my eyes, and then offer to do the same and poke anyone else in the eyes that wish to be poked in the eyes.
I'm going to put my hand up.
Yeah, it kind of stops halfway.
No, nothing's going in my eyes. Not again.
Again? Okay.
Don't
For
worry
another
about
time.
it. Another story.
Yeah. But yeah, I would offer to lead the way, but I actually don't know the way.
She does not know the way.
Dear Lord, I hate you so much.
I imagine Amalia will take point.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah, I would agree. I'll bring up the red.
Athena's keen mind, it wouldn't be terribly difficult to simply just reverse the trip you guys took here.
we have an Amalia back.
So, are you guys what pace would you guys be traveling at?
I'd say normal pace, just as we're going through the night.
Very well.
Yep, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get somebody to roll a d20 for me, please?
I'll catch Amalia up in chat while someone rolls.
Very well.
Bithynia, do you want to do that with your...
Yeah.
Oh,
I
this
can
isn't
roll.
a check. This is random encounter.
Yeah,
Cool.
but still.
As
Just
long as
for
we're clear.
flavor.
So
Yes,
D20, correct? 4.
Well, fortunately, I don't actually have the list in front of me, so this will just take a second. Yeah, I switched to a new note-keeping program, and I'm still learning to use it. You travel on through the night for a solid 4 hours, just in silent march. It's serene. Oh wait, I just realized that we still got the ice thing going. Let me switch that up slightly. Never mind, I thought I had a thing for sort of the Plains of Oreskos. Must have forgotten to set that up. We'll leave it blank for the moment, but there's different kinds of cicadas and other things just sort of throughout the night. And as you travel onwards, eventually the two with dark vision in particular, the dark vision, especially the dark vision that goes for like 1,000,000 feet. I can't remember what Devil's Sight does, but it's something like that. But he's Anthea as well. Notice a so it is a not quite full moon, but nearly there. Those and the moon's light in the sky is helping illuminate things, and you see a sort of similar light coming from the ground about 400 feet to your left or so. Bithynia, if you're flying, you'd be able to spot a as in circling over everybody, you'd spot a pool of water. A lake feels like the wrong word. Lagoon. It's like less than 50 feet wide. Like
interesting, and it's not frozen over.
No, so you guys are back in the Valley of Oreskos at this point. You're in sort of grasslands. It's right. A little cold because it's close to the mountains, and it is that time of year. But it's
too low of an elevation. Okay. So Bithynia shuts down. There's some water up ahead. It's glimmering. It's not too much, but it may be in our way.
We didn't pass any when we came this way before, I don't think. It's been a while.
It is also dark. So, while we were inside, there might have been a weather pattern, like a rainstorm or something. Maybe we didn't recognize that it was enough of a crevice to hold water.
Just for clarification as well, the light you see is just the reflection of the moon in the water, in case I didn't clarify that well enough.
The glimmering. Yes. Yep. Yeah, so I don't see anything too out of the ordinary. Do you want me to send Couplet over there? Check it out? Or I can go.
We'll be walking past it, right?
Well, it's how far ahead?
So it's 400 feet in a sort of diagonal direction. You'll pass within about less than 100 feet of it.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could when we get closer.
Okay. I'll stay up ahead or above.
You guys travel on for about that's a minute and a half. I don't know. Actually, it's a bit about 5 minutes later. You arrive at that point basically where, as aforementioned, it's you sort of at this point it's like sort of right on your side, and you can all sort of see the twinkle of the moonlight in the water being reflected.
It's beautiful.
I wonder if there was a rainstorm while we were gone. We were in there for not too long, but it's a decent amount of water.
Does the water look? Does this glistening seem magical?
I'll say
in
roll a
nature?
No.
Anybody who wants to can roll a nature or arcana check. Your choice. Actually, as you guys are asking the ones asking the question, Scotty or Bithynia, you can roll nature or arcana, your choice.
I rolled a 30.
Roll a 10.
You've been in and around magical forms of light your whole life, Bithynia, and you've also seen plenty of reflections in the sea and in sort of fountains and things like that throughout Melitis. This definitely looks more like the latter. You are, with a 30, you are 100% certain there is no magic about the way the light shimmers.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's just a weather pattern. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. And there's no dam nearby that would have let it go, so I think that it's probably just an act of nature.
Are
It's very
there
pretty though.
are there any fish or other creatures within the water?
So you're still just, I'll say about 80 feet from it at this point. You can go and check if you like.
Yeah.
Scotinus is going to move over while still carrying the Gorgon.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll go check out the water.
Okay. You guys make your way over to there, and the sereneness and the peace that you've felt before, Xanthia, it's a really nice little picture-perfect idyllic moment, especially for someone who's kind of hasn't really stopped, especially in the last few months. Just taking a moment to enjoy the pretty sight is nice. You said you were looking for fish?
Yeah, fish or any other creatures within
Make
the
a
water.
perception check.
Sure thing. Perception. That's just an 11.
You peer down and you catch a small hint of a fin type movement, and you sort of look a little bit closer, and you see something sort of slightly swaying underneath, and then whoosh, out of the water, 1, whoosh, 2, whoosh, 3, 4, 5 heads, reptilian heads that all together, boom, one massive reptilian claw on one side, boom, the other, and you realize what you thought was a fishtail is just the crest fin, as a massive hydra erupts out of the water.
Christmas. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I said it wasn't magical.
They do a rah sound at the same time as all the heads roar simultaneously. I'm tempted to end the session there, actually, because it is 10 o'clock. What do you guys want to do?
I would say a Hydra is not a half an hour fight.
You see this as well, Bithynia? Actually, I need to roll something real quick.
Is it an Iron Scale Hydra? Because that's what we needed.
Yes, it is an Iron Scale Hydra. I just rolled for it. And Bithynia, you know this because you've seen a couple Hydra corpses being brought in by an adventurer once or twice. This is a little bigger.
Yeah, so that one time, she looks down at the bottom. She's like, remember that one time I thought that we could put this on a ship? I was wrong.
More like if you think of a Hydra, as like a mountain lion, a Iron Scale would be an actual lion.
Fuck. Okay.
So, I will let the players decide. Is that where we'll end tonight's session, or
game either way.
I would love to continue playing, but it's late.
Yeah, I have to wake up early.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
yeah. This is so mean.
Oh, and just a point of order, Xanthia, you and Scotty are right at the lip of this pond. Everybody else is still about
Yeah.
Oh my god.
80 feet back.
Oh no.
And I'm
Oh,
up
yeah,
in the air.
So,
So
Plummet can travel quite quickly, but everybody else is gonna spend a couple of turns or so getting to you two.
Oh god. I mean, maybe then next time my cool Triton abilities can shine.
Tell you what, shall I quickly show you the map?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Give me just
like that.
a second.
You know what? I thought, I'll just use like my sending spells. They're level 3 and we'll be fine. We're gonna take a long rest afterwards. It's gonna be fine. There's not gonna be a fight. And then there was. I used a 5th level and 2 3rd levels. It's gonna be great.
Sorry guys, I forgot to update the Hydra token. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Mumble, mumble, mumble. Peas and carrots.
Mumble.
Peas and carrots.
I wonder if I can communicate with the Hydra.
Well, you might be able to talk, but will it listen?
Yeah, I mean, it says I can communicate simple ideas with beasts that can breathe water. I don't think I can understand it necessarily.
I mean, I'm also holding something that was very snake-like in my arms as well. My intention was Katinus was going to lay the Gorgon to rest here. That might have changed somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also wearing like scales from a dead sea beast as armor, so potentially it might not be happy to see me.
We wouldn't be happy to see you.
Ah.
Katinus also doesn't want to fight it.
Oh god.
That's fine. Yeah.
Ah.
Is this the right one?
Don't we have a scroll of Charm Monster? I don't know if it's considered a monster, but don't we have Charm Monster as
Yeah.
a scroll somewhere?
If we
try.
successfully use Charm Monster on this, I will be very. You know what? Stranger things have happened.
Oh wait, Scotty, you have dark
Oh,
vision
we would
right
still
now,
have to
right?
get the blood on it.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh, right, of course. Well, yeah, no, actually, I'll say you'd be on the map too, Bithynia. So 1 second. Let me just update your token, Scotty, so that it has dark vision. Apologies for the chat, for people in the audience. I will absolutely amend that in just a moment. Was that 60 feet dark vision, Scotty?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, so I believe, yeah, so Xanthia, your token has a built-in, but because Scotty doesn't naturally have it, I have to add it.
Ah,
So,
okay.
But not a problem. I will. So I'm gonna add the other two to the map, but you're gonna look closer than you actually are. I'm just adding your tokens so that you can see what is ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Lira.
So we're like waiting for the map to come up.
Sorry, 1 second.
No
All right.
worries.
Bakios, you still can't see shit, right?
I'm blind as a bat.
I'm gonna say,
in
just
the
for
Lord.
the sake, you have a torch in your hand right now.
Yeah, that works.
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna say, oh yeah, so it's 40 dim light and
She doesn't have dark
20
vision.
bright light. Update token. Hilira, you have dark vision because you got cast on the spell, right?
I don't know if
Scotty,
I
did you?
did. I didn't say anything.
It was offered to anyone that wanted it, and he went around ready to poke anyone in the eyes that wanted it.
I probably would have done it, but I wasn't in time. I wrote it on another topic.
I'll
so I
allow
didn't want to put
it. So, okay, so, and I will just quickly switch to battle mode, transition, and
Another.
I will go ahead and
Love to see it.
thank you all for your patience. Activate. Whoop, need to move that.
Oh, fuck that. Oh my god, that thing is massive.
Oh God.
I'm in awe at the size of this
Okay,
lad.
see, my map
When you
hasn't come up yet.
You said a mountain
No,
lion.
if you think of a regular Hydra as a mountain lion, and a iron scale Hydra as an actual lion, in terms of the hierarchy of creature.
I'm in awe.
Well, that's just great.
And this thing looks like it has 5 heads, so that's 5 attacks every turn.
Well, I'm hopeful that we got our sandwiches out of the way today so that we can
Run away. Screaming.
We need the blood. We need the core. That's what we came for.
Right. We just need the blood. I mean, it would be nice. Life is also
But I
nice.
will say, at this point,
Yeah, life would be pretty nice.
I think even if you somehow kill her within 30 minutes, we'll be like pushing 11, like 20 to 11. So I don't know if that's fair to you guys. So I'm gonna say that is where we'll end tonight's session, and we will pick up next session with the battle with the Iron Scale Hydra.
Nice.
Yep, that was the 4 on the random encounter table.
No.
Yay, jumping straight into battle
Listen,
again
you,
next episode.
you just killed a Titan, you know? You should be riding a high at the moment.
I mean, that was like how many hours ago?
48. It's been a couple days.
Yeah.
Couple of days, yeah.
Great.
But thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. Tune in next time, which should hopefully be next week. After that, we might break for Christmas. But tune in next time as the players face down the mighty Iron Scale Hydra that was hiding in this watering hole. And as this thing rears its 5 heads ready to strike, Bithynia, you're like, oh yeah, they like watering holes. They told us that.
Yeah, minor detail.
Thank you all so... Oh, wait, I accidentally zoomed in way too much. Thank you all...
It just makes them look
Thank
bigger.
you all so much for
It's
tuning
fine.
in this evening. It has been a real blast. Chemical Ash, welcome. We need a name for our fans.
Hoplites.
Yeah, welcome to the Hoplites. And we hope to see you. We hope to see more of you around. You guys have a good night. We are DC30.
We're going